The applause was deafening. It rose like a wave across the beach, echoing against the soft crash of the ocean behind them. Guests stood to their feet, smiling, clapping, celebrating a love story that Jasmine knew was built on betrayal. Jasmine Thompson stood frozen at the back. Her fingers tightened around her clutch until her knuckles turned white. She could feel the sand shifting beneath her heels, unstable, just like everything in her life right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I now pronounce them husband and wife. The words hit harder than anything. Daniel leaned forward, lifting Vanessa's veil with a gentle smile, the same smile he once reserved for Jasmine. Then he kissed her. The crowd erupted again. Jasmine's chest tightened painfully, her breath coming in shallow waves. For a brief second, her vision blurred, not from weakness, but from the tears she refused to let fall. "Don't cry. Not here." She straightened her back. From a distance, she probably looked composed, even elegant in her deep purple dress. No one would guess that her heart was breaking all over again. To everyone else, this was a beautiful wedding. To Jasmine, it was a funeral. The burial of everything she once believed in. Love wasn't supposed to feel like this. Jasmine remembered when everything was simple. Back when Daniel had nothing but ambition and empty pockets. Back when they shared a tiny apartment with flickering lights and a leaking sink. She didn't mind. Because she had him. Every morning, she would wake up before sunrise, slipping quietly out of bed so she wouldn't disturb him. She'd prepare for her hospital shift, exhaustion already clinging to her bones. But she never complained. Not when she paid the rent. Not when she covered his debts. Not even when she skipped meals just to stretch their money further. "You don't have to do all this," Daniel once said, watching her count cash at the kitchen table. Jasmine smiled softly. "I want to." And she meant it. She believed in him. Even when his business ideas failed. Even when investors laughed him out of meetings. Even when he started doubting himself. "I'm nothing without you," he told her one night, his voice breaking. Jasmine held him close. "That's not true. You just haven't become who you're meant to be yet." She built him with her words. With her sacrifices. With her love. And when he finally succeeded, he forgot who helped him rise. The day everything ended felt ordinary. That was the worst part. No warning. No dramatic explosion. Just quiet cruelty. "Jasmine, we need to talk." She knew that tone. She sat across from him, her hands folded in her lap, her heart already uneasy. "You're amazing," Daniel started, avoiding her eyes. "You really are." Her stomach dropped. "But..." He exhaled slowly. "But I've changed. My life is different now." Jasmine stayed silent. "I need someone who fits that life," he continued. "And I don't?" she asked, her voice calm. Too calm. He hesitated. That hesitation told her everything. "And Vanessa does?" she asked. This time, he didn't answer. He didn't have to. The silence was louder than words. Jasmine felt something inside her crack, not shatter, but crack. Because part of her had already expected this. Vanessa was everything she wasn't. Younger. More glamorous. More convenient. "I see," Jasmine said quietly. She didn't beg. She didn't cry. That would come later. Instead, she stood up with what little dignity she had left and walked away from the man she once called her home. The envelope arrived a week later. Gold. Elegant. Cruel. Jasmine stared at it for a long time before opening it. Inside was a wedding invitation. Daniel and Vanessa. She almost laughed. Of course. Her mother's voice came shortly after. "You have to attend." Jasmine frowned. Why would I do that? What will people say if you don't? Her mother insisted. They'll think there's bad blood in the family. There is bad blood, Jasmine replied coldly. Jasmine, her mother's tone hardened, sometimes you have to sacrifice your feelings for family. Jasmine closed her eyes. Haven't I done enough of that already? But in the end, she agreed. Not for them, but for herself. She needed closure. Even if it meant watching her own heart break one last time. Tan Wu-jin didn't belong to the world of ordinary people. He stood apart from the crowd, not just physically, but in presence. Power followed him like a shadow. Men respected him. Feared him. Listened when he spoke. But today, none of that mattered. Because the moment Jasmine stepped into view, everything else faded. His gaze locked onto her instantly. She looked different. Softer, yet stronger. Broken, yet unyielding. He noticed the small details others missed. The slight tremble in her hand. The way her smile didn't reach her eyes. The controlled breathing of someone holding back tears. His jaw tightened. They hurt her. The thought stirred something dangerous inside him. Because to Tan Wu-jin, Jasmine wasn't just another woman. She was the one person who saw him at his weakest. And chose to save him anyway. The hospital was chaos that night. Rain hammered against the windows, thunder echoing through the halls as paramedics rushed in with a critical patient. Gunshot wounds, someone shouted. Severe blood loss. Doctors exchanged uneasy glances. This wasn't a normal case. This was dangerous. Call it, one of them muttered. He won't make it. But Jasmine stepped forward. Prep the operating room. The room fell silent. You're wasting time, another doctor argued. Jasmine didn't even look at him. Then stop talking and start helping. Her voice was calm, but firm. Unshakable. And somehow, everyone listened. The surgery lasted hours. Sweat dripped down Jasmine's forehead, her hands steady despite the pressure. Pulse dropping, a nurse called out. Stay with me, Jasmine whispered under her breath. She didn't know his name. Didn't know his story. But she knew one thing. She wasn't going to let him die. Not if she could help it. Clear. The machine shocked his body. Once. Twice. Nothing. Again. Doctor. Again. The third shock hit. And suddenly, a faint heartbeat returned. The room froze. Then erupted into motion again. Jasmine exhaled slowly, relief washing over her. You're not dying today, she whispered. And somehow, it felt like a promise. Chapter 8, the first words, expanded. Days later, he opened his eyes. The world was blurry at first. Cold. Unfamiliar. But then, he saw her. Jasmine. Standing beside his bed, checking his vitals with quiet focus. You're awake, she said softly. Her voice was gentle. Warm. Different from the harsh world he came from. He studied her silently. Why? He asked, his voice weak. She paused. Why what? Why save me? Jasmine looked at him for a moment, then smiled faintly. Because that's my job. But he knew. It was more than that. And from that moment on, he never forgot her. Tan Wu-jin never forgot faces. In his world, memory meant survival. But Jasmine Thompson. She wasn't just a memory. She was an exception. After leaving the hospital, Wu-jin had ordered his men to find out everything about her. Not in the obsessive way powerful men often did, but in a quiet, controlled curiosity he couldn't explain. "Name?" he asked coldly. "Jasmine Thompson." "ER nurse," his right-hand man replied. "Background?" "Clean. Works 2 jobs. No criminal ties. Supports her husband financially." Wu Jin frowned slightly. "Husband?" "Yes. Daniel Carter. Small-time entrepreneur." At the time, Wu Jin didn't react. But something about that information stayed with him. A woman like her, strong, selfless, unwavering, being tied to a man like that? It didn't sit right. So he watched. From a distance. Always from the shadows. He saw everything. Not physically present, but informed. Reports came in regularly. "She's working overtime again. She transferred money to him. He failed another business deal." Wu Jin listened silently. He didn't interfere. Because she looked content. Tired, yes. Overworked, yes. But content. Until the reports changed. Daniel Carter's company just got funded. Wu Jin nodded slightly. Success. Good. But then. He's been seen frequently with another woman. Wu Jin's eyes darkened. Who? Her younger sister. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. The air in the room shifted. "Continue," Wu Jin said quietly. "They've been meeting privately. Hotels. Restaurants. Expensive places." A pause. Then. "He filed for divorce yesterday." Wu Jin's hand tightened slightly. Not anger. Something colder. Disgust. Jasmine didn't cry immediately. That was the strange part. When Daniel handed her the divorce papers, she simply stared at them. The words blurred together. "I think this is best for both of us," he said. Best for both of us. The audacity. Her voice came out quieter than she expected. "How long?" Daniel hesitated. That hesitation told her everything again. "A few months," he admitted. Jasmine nodded slowly. Her heart didn't shatter in that moment. It emptied. Like someone had quietly taken everything inside her and left nothing behind. "Okay," she said. Daniel blinked. "Okay." She stood up. "Yes. Okay." And just like that. She let him go. Back to the wedding night. The reception was worse than the ceremony. At least during the vows, there was structure. A script. But here. It was chaos. Laughter. Music. Champagne glasses clinking endlessly. Jasmine sat alone at a table near the edge, barely touching her drink. Across the room, Vanessa laughed brightly, holding on to Daniel's arm like she had always belonged there. Jasmine watched them. Not with jealousy. But with a strange detachment. Was I ever really part of that life? Do you always attend your own heartbreaks? The voice startled her. Deep. Calm. Controlled. She looked up. And there he was. The man in black. Up close, he was even more intimidating. Sharp features. Cold, observant eyes. But there was something else there too. Something softer when he looked at her. "I'm sorry." Jasmine said. "You shouldn't be here," he replied. She raised an eyebrow slightly. "And yet, here I am." A faint hint of amusement flickered in his eyes. "You're stronger than they deserve." Jasmine let out a quiet, humorless laugh. "You don't even know me." "I do." That made her pause. His gaze didn't waver. "You're the kind of person who gives everything," he continued. "And expects nothing in return. Jasmine swallowed slightly. That hit too close. And what kind of person are you? She asked. A small pause. Then. The kind who takes everything. There was something familiar about him. Jasmine studied his face more carefully. The way he held himself. The quiet authority. Then suddenly. Her eyes widened slightly. The hospital, she murmured. His expression softened, just a fraction. You remember. You were the patient, she said slowly. The one with multiple gunshot wounds. He nodded once. You saved my life. Jasmine shook her head slightly. I was just doing my job. No, he said firmly. You chose to save me. Silence settled between them. And for the first time that night, Jasmine didn't feel alone. Leave with me. The words came unexpectedly. Jasmine blinked. What? Leave this place, Wu Jin repeated. Leave them. Leave this life. Her heart skipped. Why would I do that? Because staying here will only hurt you more. She studied him carefully. You're a stranger. No, he said quietly. I'm the man who owes you his life. Jasmine exhaled slowly. That doesn't mean I should follow you. Wu Jin leaned slightly closer. It means you deserve more than this. Later that night, curiosity got the better of her. Who are you? Jasmine asked again. This time. He answered honestly. Tan Wu Jin. The name meant nothing to her. But the reaction from others nearby? Immediate. Subtle tension. Respect. Fear. Jasmine noticed. What do you do? She asked carefully. A pause. Then. I run things. She frowned slightly. That's vague. A faint smirk appeared. It's safer that way. But deep down. She already knew. He wasn't ordinary. Not even close. The night ended with a choice. Jasmine stood near the edge of the beach, the waves crashing softly under the moonlight. Wu Jin stood beside her. Silent. Patient. I don't know you, she said finally. You don't need to. That's exactly why I do. He turned to face her. His expression wasn't cold anymore. It was serious. I won't force you, he said. But if you walk away tonight. His voice lowered slightly. I won't stop watching over you. Jasmine's heart raced. And if I go with you? His answer was immediate. Then you'll never be alone again. Jasmine looked back at the reception. At the lights. The laughter. The life she used to belong to. Then she looked at Wu Jin. At the unknown. At the danger. At the possibility. Her entire life had been about sacrifice. About staying. About enduring. Maybe. Just once. She could choose herself. Okay, she said softly. Wu Jin's eyes widened slightly. I'll go with you. She didn't say goodbye. Didn't need to. Some chapters don't deserve closure. As she walked away from the wedding, she felt something strange. Not sadness. Not anger. Relief. For the first time in years. She wasn't carrying anyone else's burden. And beside her. A man who didn't ask her to. The car door closed softly behind her. The city lights stretched endlessly ahead. Wu Jin sat beside her, calm as ever. You can still change your mind, he said. Jasmine shook her head. No. She looked out the window. Then back at him. I think, this is where my real life starts. Wu Jin studied her for a moment. Then, for the first time. He smiled.